You seemingly acting as a representative of the United States.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me and doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
I've seen quite a few people complain about Superman not really being in control of his emotions, according to the new Superman trailer. Now, Entertainment Weekly had David Cornsweet actually respond to this, where Superman at the end is ultimately in control of his emotions, but we're meeting him in this film when those aspects are least true. I could do a very analytical video going into Superman, the circumstances that we've seen in the trailer, and his character, but instead I want to do a little bit of a fun video. I want to break down the Batman versus Superman fight that happens in Batman v Superman. I want to also let it be known that I actually really do love this film, specifically the Ultimate Cut, but this film has always had a soft spot in my heart. I do love rewatching this film, and out of all the Zack Snyder films, hot take, I actually love this the most. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm not the biggest fan of Man of Steel though, but either way, this is a little bit of a fun video because I was rewatching the fight, and there were a lot of times where I could say Superman was not controlling his emotions. All right, let's get into it. Now, for some quick context, right before the scene, Superman is shown that his mother is being held hostage from Lex Luthor, and the only way that he can save her life is if he fights and kills Batman. Batman is unaware of this, and Batman is going on a rampage trying to take down Superman. Superman initially lands, tries to plead with Batman, and after he gets interrupted by these sound things, he walks up to Batman. Batman yells at him, "I understand," to which Superman responds by super pushing him out of the way. Now, the argument can't be made that Batman's a threat at this point, but as we see later on in the fight, Batman can't really do much if he doesn't have kryptonite. Well, he can throw like a right hook, but that's not going to do anything. So Superman proceeds to throw Batman. He gets interrupted by a bunch of bullets coming at him. Not kryptonite bullets, which I guess Batman was just trying to save time. I mean, I guess, but it's not really breaking the symbol if no one can see you breaking down Superman. I guess it's just for his own personal motive. Anyways, Superman at this point is just very irritated. He grabs and throws Batman again. Then he ends up walking to Batman, where he then jumps him by pushing him through a building, grabs him, and launches him through the bat signal, which of course breaks as Batman's thrown to the edge of a building. Now, I want to be fair. After this point, the fight is basically fair as fair. Batman's throwing kryptonite at Superman. He's weakening Superman. He's still beating up Superman a lot. So the only other scene where I could say Superman took things too far would be when the kryptonite starts to wear out, and then Superman proceeds to slowly levitate before he pushes Batman down the floor of a building. And then he proceeds to grab Batman and he launches him through a wall. Now, for further context, I should also note that this fight takes place in an abandoned part of Gotham. So I'm not counting destruction as Superman not controlling his emotions or caring for civilians. That point goes to Man of Steel. Now, after that, the fight is pretty much fair game. Superman is, of course, holding back, and Batman, of course, is not. But in any case, it cannot be disputed that Superman started this fight so poorly. Ung's head was not in the game, both in the sense of the fight and in the sense of trying to calm down the situation. You're trying to plead with this man, and after things go wrong a little bit, you proceed to throw him through buildings or launch him far away whilst not trying to calm down the situation anymore. And like I said, I've watched this film. I know that Lex is the one that's been the puppet master behind everything. He's been the one pinning Batman against Superman and pinning Superman against Batman. So the entire film has been leading up to this fight, which is why I also say that this fight is just kind of disappointing. And just like I don't like when people say, but if Henry Cavill did this, people would have an issue. But if David Cornsweet did this, people would have a problem. Does the fight go raw though? No. I'm sorry to say, even in theaters when I watched it, the fight was just way too short and not fair at all. You can't really side with Batman because Superman's just trying to save his mom, and you can't really say Superman's putting much of a fair fight. It's kind of cool to see these two characters fight, and this video isn't meant to say, hey, gotcha. At the end of the day, like I said, it's a fun video. I just wanted to poke fun at this complaint that I've been seeing quite a bit, because while Superman should at the end of the day be someone that's in control of his emotions, it doesn't mean that he always is. Sometimes that's what makes him the most human, and in other times he's poorly executing a rescue. I am interested in seeing the comments in regards to the fight, but with that being said, remember to have a sunny day, and I'll catch you all later.